It's time. It's time for Pat Riley to go. It's time for Pat Riley to go. It's just that damn simple. The Miami Heat, since the trade of Jimmy Butler, are 4-16. Think about that for a second. 4-16. People will say, "Oh well, they were 500 when he was on the team, right? And he didn't play, right?" Yeah, you can say that. But there's something to be said for when you know something is now over and you know he's never coming back. You might have this inspired sense of self, this inspired sense of energy. Because in your mind, you might think that Jimmy Butler's going to come back to save you. But once the Miami Heat made the deal to trade Jimmy Butler to Golden State, all hope was gone. Davion Mitchell, Kyle Anderson. Has he even played? Andrew Wiggins, hurt. It's funny how Jimmy Butler was the guy that misses a lot of games, right? For injury, right? Andrew Wiggins has missed half the games that he was supposed to have played in, if you didn't know. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Rudy's Rant Full Court Press. Let's talk about what's going on in Miami. This is Miami Heat basketball. Thank you to all of you who are supporters of this channel. Please be sure to like, subscribe, follow, hit that bell. Those of you who are new, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, leave a comment. For those of you who are back again, I appreciate y'all. Leave a comment, like the video. Let's jump on in. Pat Riley has been with the Miami Heat since 1995. When he left the New York Knicks to come down to Miami, he was given the keys to the franchise. He was the god of all gods, the king of all kings, the Armani suit wearing, slick back hair, smooth as the other side of the pillow, cool as the other side of the pillow type thing. Showtime Lakers coach, 4 NBA championships, but he could never get the job done in New York. So he comes down to Miami. Mickey Harrison says, "Here's the keys. Here's the city. It's yours." And yes, Pat Riley initially made some moves that were great. I mean, I wasn't happy when he traded Glenn Rice because that was my favorite player, and I was a younger kid at the time. I was 17 years old, and a huge fan of Glenn Rice. And he trades him for Alonzo Mourning, and Glenn Rice becomes an all-star in Charlotte. Top shelf small forward at the time. Alonzo Mourning is here. Tim Hardaway comes to town. The Miami Heat win 60 games and get to the Eastern Conference Finals. They get smoked by the Bulls. No one could beat the Bulls at the time. It is what it is. But Miami was a competitive team. Gritty, grimy, tough, hungry. Couldn't score, though. Team that could not put the ball in the basket. And at the time, you're talking about low 90s, high 80s, low 90s. Miami games would be played in the 80s a lot. But Miami never gets over the hump. Pat Riley decides, well, he's done. He brings on, Stan Van Gundy becomes the head coach. Stan Van Gundy's working with a young D Wade. Stan Van Gundy helps lead the Miami Heat to the Eastern Conference Finals in 2005, where D Wade gets hurt. Largely is the reason Miami did not get to the finals in 2005 with Stan Van Gundy playing with D Wade and Shaq. Like, we can all look at whatever. Dwayne Wade got hurt, and that was the difference. It's a huge difference. Next season, 06, apparently, Shaq is not happy with Van Gundy, and Pat Riley decides he's going to axe Stan Van Gundy and become the coach himself. And it was a struggle that season, but the Miami Heat do end up getting that opportunity to play the Pistons again, this time as the 2 seed, and they beat the Pistons in 6 games. They go to the championship, finals, play the Mavericks, lose the first 2, but win the next 4 as Dwayne Wade solidifies himself as one of the greatest players in the world. And 2 years later, Pat Riley says, "I've had it. I'm done. Hands the keys to Eric Spoelstra. But Pat Riley's imprint has always been on this Miami Heat franchise. And for a period of time, Pat Riley made the moves that helped Miami win. He helped bring in LeBron James. He helped bring in Chris Bosh. He helped create that big three, experience for 4 years. But Pat Riley has also notoriously been known to piss off superstar players. He's been notoriously known for dissing superstar players. You can't win in professional sports, let alone especially in basketball, without megastars. You might be able to win a Super Bowl in football with a substandard quarterback, but you can't win in the NBA with a substandard team. Without talent, you don't win. So when he pissed off LeBron and made decisions that directly bothered LeBron, and LeBron chose after 4 years to take his ball and fly back to Cleveland and go play for a franchise and an owner that told him that he was weak and disrespected him in all kinds of ways, that has to give you a better understanding as to how badly Pat Riley had to have pissed LeBron James off to make him want to go back to Cleveland after 4 years, where the Heat won two championships and went to 4 finals in a row. Going to a Miami Heat game during that time was an experience. It was an event. And then Miami goes through some issues. Chris Bosh is dealing with blood clots. Dwayne Wade's knees are going away. And guess what? Chris Bosh gets this big deal and it pisses off Dwayne Wade. And Dwayne Wade takes his ball and he says, I'm out of here. I'm going to Chicago. All over $2 million or $3 million because Pat Riley disrespected him. Another player that Pat Riley disrespected. But Dwayne Wade comes back and he completes his career here. But we blew a year and a half where we could have had Dwayne Wade in the building. Look, the reality was the Chris Bosh contract ended up being a disaster because Chris Bosh had blood clots. You couldn't foresee that. What you could foresee is that you don't overpay Chris Bosh the way he did and ignore his franchise player, Dwayne Wade, who did so much for the franchise. All that said, now you have the Jimmy Butler era. And Jimmy Butler takes the Miami Heat to two finals in 4 years. Another one with an Eastern Conference final run. And they fall short. Jimmy Butler played on a team that had less talent than any team that won a championship in the history of Miami Heat basketball. The teams that Jimmy Butler played on didn't come close to the talent of the Shaq Wade team, of the Big Three. Not even close. Not close. Bam Adebayo is a 4th level player on a great team. Tyler Hero is a 3rd scorer on a great team. And Pat Riley could not get it done. He could not lure in another player to pair alongside Jimmy Butler to make the Miami Heat a legitimate championship team. Jimmy Butler never cared about being the first option. Never cared, which is why Tyler Hero took more shots than him in pretty much every season that they played, except that Tyler Hero, for a young guy, was always injured. Bam Adebayo's skill level has never truly gotten any better. And so Jimmy Butler, when it comes down to expecting his contract extension, Pat Riley says, no, we're not going to pay you. You have to prove it on the floor, as if he hadn't already proved it on the floor. And there's a whole congregation of simp Miami Heat fans who will blow Pat Riley if he took his schlong out for you. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. No matter what Pat Riley does, they will bend over and kiss his ring. The Golden State Warriors with Jimmy Butler on the floor are 15-2 since that trade was made. 15-2. 15-2. The Miami Heat, 4-16. You need to consider what that means. Before that trade, the Warriors were a sub 500 team. I'm sorry, but this is Pat Riley's fault. The Miami Heat are a mess because of Pat Riley. And for everyone saying, let's tank for Cooper Flag, folks, this is a man that doesn't play rookies like this. There's a reason Khalil Ware didn't play for the first 3 months of the year. He doesn't trust rookies. Look at what's happened to Jaime Jaquez. He's regressed. Look at what's going on with this franchise. It's a franchise for the last 5 years where Jimmy Butler was playing next to a bunch of G Leaguers, players that were in the G League in the last few seasons, starting with Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Haywood Highsmith, Caleb Martin, you name it. G League fillers. And yes, Miami can help develop those guys typically. They have a history of doing it. What they don't have a history of doing is developing superstars. Bam Adebayo is not a superstar. He's not even a star. He's a good player who can't score consistently, which makes you think maybe he's just a role player. Just because he was on the Olympic team doesn't make him a superstar. Tyler Hero is a good scorer who can't defend a parked car, who can barely handle the ball. Bam decided he wants to shoot threes this year, and he's made himself wholly inefficient as a basketball player. They've now lost 9 straight games. And Pat Riley's birthday, his 80th birthday, is today. It's today. And it's time on his 80th birthday for him to retire and move on. This franchise is a mess right now, in large part because of Pat Riley. I don't care what happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. People loved Bobby Bowden in Tallahassee for a very, very long time until they didn't, until he stopped winning. But he was the coach, and he was coaching college kids. You had a star-level player in your locker room, and you traded him for Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Marshall, and you parlayed that into a Davion Mitchell, who's a backup point guard, and Andrew Wiggins, who's never been that guy. Jimmy Butler would have been happy to be a second option, but you couldn't get it done. You couldn't get it done for Dame. Remember, you could have traded Bam to get Dame. That would have made Miami better. No, you didn't. You wanted to trade Hero. They didn't want Hero. You tried to trade Hero for 3 years. And now there's talk of him getting a 4-year, $210 million extension. You want to go pay a third best player on a good team $55 million a year? Are you out of your mind? And if that happens, this team will be doomed for the next half decade. This nonstop get Kevin Durant thing. Kevin Durant's 37 years old. He is not that guy anymore. It's too late for Kevin Durant. Not to mention he's a crybaby quite often. But this crap, this shit's over. Just listen to what people are saying about this. Take a look right here.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. It's not fucking close.
Like, man, he was their leader, bro.
It's not. It's Ray. It's not fucking close. And quote me on this. The Miami Heat is worse. That is a worse trade than Dallas and the Lakers.
Yes.
By far.
Yeah.
Dallas is just getting cooked by injuries.
I kind of agree with that.
The Heat are healthy.
They suck.
Jimmy Butler was Heat culture.
Yes.
Regardless of what the fuck you thought he was doing off the court, that motherfucker brought a toughness. He brought a mentality.
Leadership.
He had leadership. Bro, I swear to God, it did not matter what seed the Miami Heat were. If they got in the playoffs, any team that played them,
you didn't want
they
to
had
see
to
him.
buckle the fuck up.
You didn't want to
It was
see
gonna be a
him.
dog fight.
All I'm gonna say is this: I
truth.
love A Wiggs. I love A Wiggs.
Me
This don't
too.
got nothing to do with A Wigs.
But it's what I'm saying. But like, But like you can't replace.
It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with
A. Wiggs is a good basketball player,
Yep.
but
He's a great
he's
really
not
good
Jimmy.
basketball player.
He's not Jimmy. Jimmy is a dog. Jimmy gonna
That's
play
what
on
I'm saying.
Jimmy gonna play defense. Jimmy gonna do whatever
But
it
not
takes to
even that.
win.
He's a vocal leader.
He
Yes.
made
You
all
can't
those other
trade
guys feel
for
like
that.
they were Michael Jordan.
He held them accountable, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Like Tyler Hero, I bet you right now say, man, I miss Jimmy. Bam, I bet you would say, man, I miss Jimmy.
Bro, look,
Duncan.
he
All
had.
of them.
He
Come on,
had,
bro.
They all miss Jimmy. And it shows. They all miss Jimmy. And this is Pat Riley's fault. And this is why Pat Riley needs to go off into the sunset. At the end of the season, Pat Riley needs to retire. It's over. We can thank him for the many great years, but he has a history of insulting superstars. Jimmy Butler, 2 years ago, was largely considered a top 5 player in the league. For those of you who don't know, that's Ray Felton and Theo Pinson, who played for North Carolina. Ray Felton played in the NBA. So these are former players who are sitting here telling you that Miami's trade of Jimmy Butler is worse than the trade that the Mavericks made the trade for Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is injured. If Andrew Wiggins wasn't injured, this trade would still be a disaster. You listen to what the Golden State Warrior players have said. They're excited. They feel confident because Jimmy Butler's in the room. Draymond Green has gone on record over and over. Man, it feels so good to come to work knowing you're going to win. Knowing you're going to win. Because Jimmy brings that attitude of winning. And this is at a franchise that's won 4 rings in 10 years. 4 rings in 10 years. And that's coming from a guy who's got 4 championships. And the guy who doesn't have any rings is the one who's inspiring him. And you traded him and you wouldn't pay him because you thought that maybe, I don't know what you thought. I don't even know what you thought. I don't know what you thought. You insulted him publicly. People don't like that shit, man. These people who will glaze Pat Riley no matter what. Look, man, thank you, Pat Riley, but it's time to go. It's time to go. It's time to go. Listen to the players that have been in the Miami Heat since 2015. Think about this. This is since the end of the big 3. Goran Dragic, who was great. Loved having Goran Dragic. And in large part, I think Miami's finals loss in the bubble was a large part because Goran Dragic got hurt. And we never saw that guy who was averaging 20 plus a game. Now, does Miami win the series if he's healthy? I don't know. He lost 4-2, and Jimmy Butler had 2 triple doubles. You remember him keeled over, exhausted because he had no help. You can't win by yourself in basketball. Michael Jordan couldn't win by himself in basketball. LeBron couldn't win by himself in basketball. You can't win at the highest level with no help. And at the time, Bam was what? A baby? Hero was a rookie? Come on. These are the players that have been in the Miami Heat franchise since 2015. Gerald Green, Amari Stoudemire, who was a bench warmer, Joe Johnson, James Johnson, Derek Williams, Wayne Ellington, Dion Waiters, Luke Babbitt, Kelly Olynyk, Avery Bradley, Mo Harkless, Trevor Ariza, Nemanja Bjelica, Victor Oladipo, Dwayne Dedman, Markieff Morris, Kevin Love, Cody Zeller, Thomas Bryant, DeLon Wright, Patty Mills, Alec Burks, Kyle Anderson, Davion Mitchell, and Terry Rozier, which will go down as possibly the worst deal that he's ever made. Which includes maybe this Jimmy Butler deal, because you took on a player with a bloated contract who's been an utter disaster. You could have kept Kyle Lowry if we knew we were going to get this garbage. Maybe it was true that Terry Rozier only had good numbers because he played on a trash can team and there were no expectations and he took all the shots. And you're supposed to know that as a fucking owner, president, general manager, all combined in one. Congratulations, Pat Riley. You had a great career. You won a lot of rings. I don't bow down and kiss the ring on failure. And this team has been a failure largely because you've been a failure. I don't live in a world of championship or bust because one of my favorite teams to watch was that 41-41 Miami Heat team that was 11-30 and finished 30-11 and finished one game out of the playoffs. I loved watching that team. This shit that we're watching right now, 9 games under 500, 9 straight losses, 11 under 500, with way more talent than that team that was 41-41, by the way. Way more talent. Not to mention, Usa. Yeah, back on track. This team was more talented than that team. Not to mention the fact that all you needed to do was get one piece for Jimmy Butler. One piece to put next to him. And you've been looking at a title team, a championship team, probably multiple times. But you couldn't do it. No one's falling for the dropping rings on the table anymore. No one cares. It's a different generation. And that's what happens to old men. Their generation ends on for new blood. So it happened to Bobby Bowden. It's what happened to every old guard coach, general manager, whoever. Eventually, your time runs out, and his time is out. It's over. I watched last night's game against the Pistons on TV. I had not watched a Heat game in a minute, like for a lengthy period of time. I watched them blow an 8-point fourth quarter lead to the Pistons and watch them make every low IQ mistake you can possibly make in the fourth quarter. This is the team that has blown like 15 or 16 double-digit second half leads. And yesterday wasn't a double-digit lead, but it was close. And they blew an 8-point lead in 9 minutes and gave up a buzzer beater. Call it a lucky shot if you want to Cade Cunningham. But if you watch that play on replay, you watch how badly they defended it. The fact that Cade Cunningham even got the ball was a problem. The fact that they didn't double team him was a problem. The fact that Bam Adebayo was looking for a screen that no one called because there was no screen was a problem. The fact that he let Cade get to his spot to elevate and shoot it over Bam was a problem. I saw 10 problems on one play. Not to mention another 20 issues over a 9-minute stretch with bad IQ ball. This team has blown so many leads. Would that happen with Jimmy Butler on that court? No fucking way. And it's games like that, which is where they're missing Jimmy Butler so badly. So badly. They got a bunch of these losses just since he's been gone. Double-digit blown leads in the third or fourth quarter. Embarrassing. Thank you, Pat Riley, but please end our misery and retire at the end of this season so we can go move on to a new generation of basketball because it's over for you. That's all I got. You let me know what you think in the comments. I'm sure I got a bunch of Heat Riley Glazers who are going to sit here and suck him off to the end of days and believe whatever he says because he says it. Well, guess what? You're wrong, and you were wrong. 4-16 since Jimmy Butler was traded. That's what you got. This is Rudy's Rant, Full Court Press, facts over feelings. Come on now.